my name is Daniel Mudimbe, and I run the backup and DR practice for Google Cloud. I've been at it for a couple of years or so, and we've been working with our friends at Veeam for the latter part of the last couple of years or so. So it's a nascent relationship, and that's a relative term. But in the last 24 months, we've done a lot of work to support our joint customers on their journey to the cloud, right? So we'll talk through what that means specifically, and then what are the use cases that we support in terms of giving our customers the ability to leverage both Veeam solutions and Google Cloud as well. So let's kind of dive into a couple things. One of the things that I wanted to set as a baseline is we've all heard of the cloud as a mega trend, right? So that's pretty much undisputable at this point. And there's a ton of data out there, estimating the number of workloads in the cloud in terms of the capacity in the cloud, the growth of enterprise customers moving to the cloud. But really specifically around backup, I wanted to set a baseline in terms of what we're seeing, and this dates back to 2021, so it's still pretty recent, right? There are 5 set of trends that I thought were absolutely relevant to what we're talking about, but also to what we're doing collectively with Veeam in terms of enabling the 2 solutions to work in the cloud. So in 2021, the split between on-prem backup and cloud backup was about 50-50. For 2023, that is jumping to 57-43, right? So again, you continue to see this growth, and that is unlikely to change, by the way, in terms of what we're seeing. Granular restore, tier storage, and backup for containers are some of the top 3 sought-after solutions characteristics. So as a vendor, that is something that has to be pertinent. That is something that you probably want to support, right? You really tend not to want to fight the trend. We know where the trend is going. I think it is really up to us to make sure that we extend supportability. Only 16% have settled on a single cloud, right? So 68% have 2 or 3 different cloud providers. Again, very consistent. We see this on a regular basis. Most customers have essentially accepted that they do not want to be all in on a single cloud for a host of reasons. Some of them are pretty obvious. Only 2% of the respondents say that they would not consider backup as a service, as a solution, right? So 97% already do it, and the rest are very open to it. So again, don't fight the trend. We know exactly where our customer is going. And then lastly, DR is absolutely top of mind, continues to be, but a big driving force for customers is the ability to store data in a secondary site. So that becomes super critical. So, I mentioned nascent in terms of being a relative term, but really in the last 24 months or so, we've done some extensive work on the integration side to really support the core capabilities and use cases that we do see our customers go through as part of the journey to the cloud. So Veeam was a founding partner for GCVE, which is Google Cloud VMware Engine, in terms of providing data protection for VMs running on Google Cloud. We announced, obviously, supportability with Veeam and VBR in the Q1 timeframe of 2021. Veeam Backup for Google Cloud, VBG, right? This is for data protection for in-cloud workloads already running in Google Cloud. Also announced around the same time frame in the first quarter of 2021 as well. Veeam Backup for replication. The 11A is the current version. This is the Veeam flagship product, which many of you are very familiar with support for Google Cloud Storage, all the relevant tiers, also supported in the 2021 timeframe. Veeam Backup and Replication and Veeam Universal License, right? So these are the core Veeam product, and the licensing mechanism now available through the Google Marketplace. And we'll talk about why that's extremely important. And then last but not least is the extension of CDP, Continuous Data Protection, and Cloud SQL, data protection, or Cloud SQL supportability, also in VBG, which is more recent. So the 2 announcements were made prior to VeeamON. I don't know how many of you were in Vegas, but that was announced right before the show. So really thinking of the first slide in terms of the trend, but really looking at the use cases that we support. And this is super critical, right? Because this is going to tie into all the work that we're currently doing. One is really using Veeam Backup for replication. This is VBR. With with Google Cloud in terms of using cloud as a target, right? So this is long-term retention capabilities, extending the cloud and the scale of the cloud for cold storage. I joke that on my way to corporate, I still sometimes will see the truck running around with the tapes in the back, right? So, and the question is, seriously, why are you still doing this? There's absolutely no reason. There's obviously considerable cost mitigation in terms of going from CapEx to OpEx. There's obviously scale and functionality. So this is a really easy use case. And then, by the way, the supportability to run this is pretty huge, right? We don't see a lot of friction. This is pretty much a very accepted use case. So what we have to do is make sure that we have the capability and we make it as easy as possible for our customers to do that. And we're seeing that being adopted extremely well. The second use case is really use Veeam to support VMware migration to the cloud. So this is really extending protection for VMware workloads on Google Cloud, right? This is a nice, easy way to migrate VMs from on-prem to the cloud, right? So, I mean, a lot of people talk about, cloud native, moving all in on the cloud, which is absolutely great, but what we know is that takes a lot of effort, and that takes a lot of time. So depending on how quickly you need to move and how quickly you need to exit a data center, for example, really going for, with GCVE and obviously that's fully supported, really becomes an asset. Third is really use Veeam backup for Google Cloud. This is VBG 3.0. When we started about a year and a half ago, we were at the version 1.0. We're 3.0 that was just released. We can now extend data protection for workloads that are running in Google Cloud, right? So, and this is purpose-built on GCP as well. And then last is, but certainly not least, is, and we're seeing a lot of traction here, and this goes back to one of the slides that I mentioned at the beginning, in terms of providing data protection for Kubernetes workload, right? So Kubernetes estates. So that is also, and that is done through the Kasten product, which is an acquisition that Veeam made probably about a year and a half ago or so. So, as I mentioned, so the partnership and the integration work is really all about, providing data protection for both on-prem and the stuff that's running into the cloud, right? So, businesses are in different stages of their journey to the cloud. Considering the cloud as a offsite for cold storage is just easy. Like, we really, most of the time reference this as sort of the low-hanging fruit. Very little friction, easy to do. We scale. There's obviously cost advantages on the back end in terms of providing, super cheap cloud storage. And of course, customers have tremendous amount of choice to trying to figure out which tier they want to leverage, right? They want a cold tier, or depending on the use of the workload of the application, they can go to standard, pay a little bit more, but have different access rights based on what the business requires. Running some production workloads in the cloud, I think in terms of a cloud migration, we see a lot of hybrid use cases, right? Where customers will basically start migrating some workloads, but there's a bunch of workloads that are remaining on-prem, and then they're really straddling both in terms of slowly migrating, but in the meantime, really adopting all the goodness of the cloud. So massive use case, and we see that as well. And then the last one is just a large-scale migration. So this is customers exiting a data center. We talk about Nokia, which is one of our customers, exiting 50 data centers, right? So very complex, tons of workloads. You're talking about years of process. The key element here is that Veeam is applicable to each one of these use cases, right? So really the integration that we've done extends support for our customers that are in different part of the journey. So, the key discussion when we talk to these large customers is, hey, where are you in this journey to the cloud? And we'll basically be able to support you as you go through this process, right? And we'll continue to innovate. So, when we're talking about this migration, we're talking about the on-ramp to Google Cloud with backup and DR specifically around Veeam. The backup enterprise workloads to GCP, we can do this all day long, and we are doing it, and we're seeing quite a bit of adoption. The product, obviously, here is VBR 11A with 12, most likely coming out in the early 2023 timeframe. On-prem VMware to Google Cloud, leveraging GCVE. So this is the Google Cloud VMware engine. This is just a terrific way to move to the cloud. Tons of speed. You could use CDP, Continuous Data Protection, which is a Veeam product, or you can use a VMware product in order to do that. But we're talking about thousands of VMs, and certainly if there's a partner in the discussion to help and assist with the migration and the services, then that's perfect, right? Whether it be a GSI or a really, really good reseller that really understands the business. And then really, the last one is the backup to Google Cloud, right? So this is lift and shift, and really providing and leveraging Veeam backup for Google Cloud, right? To provide data protection for essentially workloads already running in Google Cloud. So, quite a bit of supportability across, 2 or 3 really critical use cases. So a lot of the work that the team has done over the last, 24 months is really allowing that capability in our customers to take advantage of it. Now, from a transactional standpoint, right, what we've done is we leverage essentially the Google Marketplace, which allows customers to purchase not only our own products, so they can purchase native Google product on the marketplace, but they can also leverage the marketplace to purchase partner solutions, third-party solutions. So, what we did in the summer timeframe is we basically listed Veeam backup for replication and also the licensing mechanism to be accessible and purchasable through the Google Marketplace. So, for customers, it's super easy to use, it's super fast, it's only a single bill, right? Customers actually stack different solutions, so you could buy Veeam, and you could buy, analytics, you could buy, Palo Alto Networks, and everything that goes through the marketplace, again, is on a single bill basis. And if a customer has an existing commit, meaning they're a customer of Google Cloud and they've actually spent some dollars, they can apply the partner solution as a credit on their overall commit, so and be able to draw it down. So there's a lot of flexibility there, and that obviously increases the stickiness of customers using it. So this is not just a Veeam thing, but it certainly applies, but it really is just general in terms of why Google Cloud, right? So the cost aspect of really collapsing the data and leveraging the cloud is undeniable, right? So some customers want to see ROI, and we're more than happy to crank those out. But really, you can do the math. We have a cost calculator on our website, and customers can basically see the region, which tier they want to apply, and it gives them a cost pretty quickly. So very competitive pricing and continues to be competitive. So that really, from a technology, from integration, it's a no-brainer. And then really, then you have the cost advantages as well, which is pretty cool. And then 2 is, we talked about, migrating thousands of VMs. Like, you need a very powerful network, right? So the Google network, which is probably one of the most powerful on the planet. This is the same, essentially, network platform that powers all the, Google properties, right? YouTube, Mail, Photos. We have 9 properties that have 1 billion plus users, right? So we understand scale, we understand networking extremely well. So you basically, and then we have tons of access points everywhere. So that really allows and enables you to start moving your business from on-prem to the cloud very quickly, leveraging the Google network. Best cross-region technology for cloud storage, right? So single namespace, multi-region, consistent buckets. You can move your data around from standard down to archive, same APIs. Wonderful, great product, right? So that works. And then, of course, Kubernetes, right? I think people understand Kubernetes. Really started at Google. Forrester wrote about it, and so I think that explains itself. And then, of course, leading cloud platform, undeniably, for analytics, AI, and ML. So there's a lot of customers that will basically come to Google Cloud strictly for that, or will come in, let's say, through using the cloud as a backup, and then really start using some of the other services. That usually is a pretty good one as well. And folks, that's the last of it. Email address there if someone has any questions. This is one of the URL that has tons of data. If you want to run a demo, you want to run about a 30-day trial. We do make the software available for free, and then you get an infrastructure credit to run it on Google Cloud, and off and running you go. So folks, thank you. Have a great show. I think there's one more day left. Cheers. Thank you.